Put up Bernard Crabtree. Are you Bernard Crabtree?
I am.
Now, I understand that you have not applied for legal aid and wish to conduct your own defence.
That's right.
Well, I must warn you that this is a serious charge. Questions of law are likely to arise on which you may need advice.
I don't need advice. I'm innocent.
Ah, that may be clear to you.
And I don't trust lawyers. They're all crooks.
Mr. Crabtree, if your car won't go, you take it to a mechanic, don't you?
So?
And if you find yourself in the dock, you need a barrister.
No. Look, this is my last chance. I don't need anybody messing this one up for me.
As you wish. Mr. Collins?
Bernard Crabtree, you are charged on an indictment containing one count of damaging property, contrary to Section 1, Subsection 1 of the Criminal Damage Act 1971. The particulars of this offence being that you, on the 3rd day of January 1982, in the area of Fulchester, without lawful excuse, damaged an assembly line belonging to Hallard's Engineering Limited, intending to damage such property, or being reckless as to whether such property would be damaged. How say you? Are you guilty or not guilty?
I've said I'm innocent. I shouldn't be here in the first place.
You are required to answer guilty or not guilty.
Not guilty.
Now, Mr. Crabtree, before I call the jury in, it is not too late for you to seek legal aid.
I don't want to.
Very well. But you do realize, don't you, that from this point there is no turning back. Once this case has begun, I cannot, under any circumstances, allow you to change your mind.
Well, I'm not going to get a fair trial either way, am I?
If you insist on defending yourself, it is my duty to advise and to help you. But you have had no training or legal experience. You may find yourself at a disadvantage.
I just want a chance to say why I'm here.
Well, you'll have that chance, whatever you decide.
Do you swear to that?
I couldn't deny it to you even if I wished.
Oh, you seem a fair enough sort of a bloke. If you can promise I'll get a decent hearing, you can give me a lawyer. Yeah, all right, thanks.
Thank the taxpayer if you must thank anyone. Now, Mrs. Bryce, I'm going to stand this case down from my list and have it relisted as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Mr. Crabtree, a firm of solicitors will be assigned to you who will instruct counsel on your behalf.
All stand.
And I'll continue bail.
The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is authentic. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the public.
The gate, drove in, and then unlocked the main workshop.
Mr. Pringle, could you tell the jury what you found when you arrived at the factory that morning?
Well, the assembly line had been sabotaged.
How?
The machinery had been turned on and metal filings poured in, which had simply chewed up the whole works.
Where had these filings come from?
They're swept off the factory floor every night and kept in a bin near the storeroom door.
Now, is there any possibility that this could have been an accident?
Oh, none whatever. The bin had been wheeled 30 yards from its usual position, and the filings had been scattered at regular intervals and in all the most sensitive areas.
Exhibit 1, Your Honour. Photographs 1 to 10.
Yes. Are these agreed, Mr. Baldwin?
Yes, they are, Your Honour.
Now, in what condition was the machinery found?
Oh, complete write-off. My insurance brokers put the damage at around £500,000.
Now, what were the consequences of this action for Hallard's Engineering?
Catastrophic. We're a small specialist firm, and we'd been completely written off. Several orders have been lost already, and other customers have gone elsewhere and may never come back to us.
And your workforce?
Oh, laid off. What else could I do? We're fighting off the receiver as it is.
So how many lost their jobs, roughly?
85. I kept on the secretary.
Your Honour, I must object.
Yes?
The number of redundancies is irrelevant to the charge and could have a prejudicial effect.
Quite right. You will disregard that last question. Yes?
Mr. Pringle, do you recognise the defendant?
No, certainly. I employed him at my factory for many years. His name's Crabtree.
Could you please tell the jury something of Crabtree's history with your company?
Yes. Well, I'm afraid I had to sack him last year, before the closure.
Perhaps you could start at the beginning. What was his exact position at Hallard's?
He was storeroom supervisor, quartermaster, if you like. He handled the delivery of supplies and the logging and stacking of goods.
A position of some responsibility.
Oh, yes, of course. He was handling highly expensive materials. Not very well, as it turned out.
Liar.
How? Not very well.
Well, I went round early one morning to carry out a routine check, and the storeroom was an absolute shambles. The state of the shelves bore no relation to the logbook, and there was a pile of crates behind the door which almost fell on me as I walked in. Well, I mean, negligence is one thing. Perhaps I could have overlooked it in view of his generally good record. But you can't keep on someone who is a danger to other staff. So he had to go.
How did he react to his dismissal?
Oh, very badly. I offered him 3 months' pay in lieu of notice for the sake of a quiet time, but Crabtree turned this down and threatened to take me to court.
And did he?
Oh, yes, wasted a great deal of my time and money. First of all, ACAS...
The Advisory, Conciliation and Arbitration Service.
Yes, that's right. Well, ACAS sent in one of their men, then I upped my offer to 6 months' pay, but Crabtree refused to take anything less than reinstatement. Well, I couldn't accept that. I mean, I had a duty to the rest of my staff. So the case went to the Industrial Tribunal, and they found in our favour.
And did the matter end there?
Oh, no. Crabtree appealed, and the Employment Appeal Tribunal found against him as well. Well, by this point, quite frankly, I mean, I thought the man was unhinged.
Now, please, Mr. Pringle, avoid giving your opinions. Just stick to the facts.
Sorry, Your Honour.
Mr. Pringle, after the appeal.
Well, any normal person would have thrown in the towel, but Crabtree just came back for more. He used to hang around the factory gates like a stray dog. Well, all the other lads didn't really like it at all. Who can blame them? They tried to swap a joke or two with him at first, but I'm afraid they ended up fairly abusive. I mean, the man had become an absolute pest, so I had to call in the police.
I wasn't doing any harm.
Now, we'll have no noise from the dock, please.
What effect did this report to the police have on Crabtree?
Oh, distinctly unpleasant. They only had a quiet word with him, I believe, but the next day...
What day was that?
December the 22nd last.
Roughly a fortnight before the night in question.
Yes, I suppose it was. Well, December the 22nd, Crabtree burst into my office and started shouting at me.
What was he shouting?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I can't remember very much. I was too shocked. You see, my secretary, Mary Culshaw, was there with me, and his language was pretty foul. But he ended up saying that he'd give me until the new year to make amends, otherwise he'd get his own back on us all.
Us all?
Well, the whole of the firm, I took him to mean.
I didn't say anything like that. He's twisting it as usual.
Mr. Crabtree.
Why don't you tell him I wasn't threatening anyone?
You will have every opportunity to speak later. If you continue to interrupt, I shall have you taken down. Do you understand?
All right, I'm sorry. It's just...
Yes, ma'am.
Did you report this outburst of Crabtree's to the police?
No, because he disappeared soon after that, and I thought maybe he was going to leave us alone. I underestimated him.
A storeroom supervisor. Did Crabtree have possession of any of the factory keys?
Oh, yes, he had a set of the storeroom keys to both the inner and the outer doors.
Did he return these after his dismissal?
No, he entered them in the register as having been lost.
Is this the register?
Yes, that's it, yes.
May it be exhibited, Your Honour? Number 2. Mr. Pringle, when you discovered the sabotage, did you notice anything unusual about the storeroom?
Yes, the inner door from the storeroom to the machine shop, which is always kept locked at night, was wide open. Now, the outer door from the storeroom to the loading bay is rarely used, and there are generally boxes stacked in front of it on the inside of the door. Now, these boxes were all on their sides, some distance away from the doors, if someone had forced their way in and pushed the boxes over.
One last question. Was there any work done on your machinery just before the sabotage?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we used the Christmas break to bring in a firm of specialists who overhauled and polished the whole assembly line. Complete waste of time, as it turned out, because the work finished on Sunday the 3rd of January, only a few hours before the sabotage. Our men came back the following day.
Thank you, Mr. Pringle. Just wait there.
Oh.
Mr. Pringle, you told the court that you discovered the crime at 6:30 on the morning of Monday the 4th. Are you usually into work so early?
No, I had just flown back from a business trip to the Middle East. The Arabs work through Christmas, unlike some. My wife and I drove past the factory on our way home from the airport because I wanted to check up on the overhaul.
And was there anyone else around?
No, the shift gets in at 7.
So there was no security guard or night watchman on duty?
Security comes fairly expensive these days. We did have an alarm system, of course, but he obviously knew how it worked.
Why, obviously?
Well, the controls were in a small cupboard near the storeroom. If you reach them within 30 seconds of entering the building, you can switch off the whole system.
Am I right in thinking, Mr. Pringle, that you know how to operate your own production line?
Yes, of course.
And you're quite sure it was operating when you arrived?
What do you mean?
Well, Mr. Pringle, how can the jury be sure that you didn't start it yourself?
Now, let me be quite clear, Mr. Baldwin. This is your case, is it?
Well, Your Honour, when placed in my client's position, one is bound to speculate who else stood to gain.
All right, go on.
Isn't it true, Mr. Pringle, that the recession had hit your business very hard?
We had one or two problems, yes, but the long-term future was quite bright.
And you were the sole beneficiary of the insurance cover, were you not?
Yes, I was. But I'm afraid you haven't done your homework, you know. We have clocks at the factory which log the machine running times. Now, the police could see quite clearly when they arrived that the line had been switched on at 3.5 minutes to midnight. I believe I was somewhere around Sicily at the time.
Crabtree joined Hallard's in 1962, didn't he?
Around then.
Only 2 years after you established the business.
Yes.
And in all that time, was any other disciplinary action ever taken against him?
In the last few months, yes, he was cautioned several times.
Yes, but in the previous 17 years?
No.
Now, in 1974, he was made up from a machinist to a storeroom supervisor.
Yes.
Yes, presumably because he'd proved himself to be an industrious and loyal servant of the firm.
Of course.
Yet for one offence, with no precedent, you sack him outright?
Look, you have to realise that this was not an isolated event. His standards had been slipping for some time.
And when did this lapse manifest itself?
About 2 years ago, I suppose. God knows, we gave him enough chance to reform.
About 2 years ago. Yeah. In other words, around the time that you concluded a union membership agreement or closed shop with the National Association of Allied Technicians.
Yes, that's quite correct, but there's nothing sinister about that. You know, half my workforce were members already, and 90% of them voted for the closed shop in a secret ballot. Labour relations have been a lot simpler ever since.
You were aware, weren't you, that Crabtree had been canvassing very heavily against the closed shop?
I could hardly fail to be. I mean, he went on and on about it endlessly. Of course, after the ballot, he joined.
Well, wouldn't he have lost his job if he'd refused?
Not at all. There was no pressure put upon him by management. I merely assumed he'd changed his mind.
Now, isn't it true that when the NAAT called a strike in January 1981, Crabtree was the only employee who refused to come out?
Yes.
And that he reported for work, crossing the picket lines every morning as usual?
Yes.
Well, how did you view this, Mr. Pringle?
Personally, I thought he was ill-advised to go against his union. But he had every right to work, and Hallard certainly wasn't going to lock him out.
Yet 5 months after the end of the strike, once Crabtree has been dismissed from the union, and therefore is something of an embarrassment to union relations in your closed shop, you suddenly find his standards are slipping and you sack him.
The two things were entirely unconnected.
Were they, Mr. Pringle? You're presumably familiar with the 1980 Employment Act?
Yes, of course, I am an employer.
You are therefore aware that you might be liable to heavy compensation should Crabtree be sacked as a union dissenter?
I was aware of that, yes.
Then wasn't the negligence charge merely a more convenient way of getting rid of him?
Really, Your Honour, where is all this leading?
Yes, we do seem to be straying from the point, Mr. Baldwin. So, Mr. Pringle, you may answer that question.
Well, I feel I should explain that all these accusations were made on Crabtree's behalf at the Industrial Tribunal and later when he appealed, and they were, quite rightly, thrown out. Both courts agreed that Crabtree was sacked for negligence and not for any attitude he might have held towards his union. He was perfectly entitled to hold a grudge against his workmates and against his trade union if he saw fit, and to carry on whatever sort of private crusade he wished. But as soon as that affected his work, leading as it did to destructive and downright dangerous behaviour, then management had to step in.
Whatever the industrial courts may have ruled, they are merely tribunals set up purely...
Baldwin, we are not here to review an unfair dismissal case. Now kindly address yourself to the present charge of criminal damage.
Oh,
Well, you don't want to ask any more questions?
No, Your Honour.
Oh. All right, Mrs. Bryce?
So is it true, Mr. Pringle, as my learned friend seems to have been suggesting, that there was a history of bad blood between Crabtree on the one hand and the management and union of Hallards on the other?
In a word, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Pringle. You may stand down.
Wait a minute.
How long have you known the defendant, Mr. Summers?
Must be nearly 30 years. We were at school together, same class, as a matter of fact.
Would you describe your relationship then as friendly?
Off and on, yeah. He made me laugh every once in a while, like silent for a whole week and then, I don't know, letting off stink bombs in class.
A practical joker.
Yeah, I suppose he was, yeah.
And when you both left school?
Well, we went into Hallards together. Bernard was the bright one, mind you. He had a couple of O-levels. I think maybe he resented being put on the machines.
At Hallards, were you still friends?
Not for long.
How precisely did you fall out?
Well, to put it bluntly, I got on in the firm and Bernard didn't. I started a Hallards football club, you see, and a darts team at the local, and because I was so involved in the firm, Mr. Pringle made me a shift foreman. Well, poor old Bernard stayed on the machines.
Was there another, more specific difference of opinion between you?
Yeah. It was the union bit that really did it.
Now, could you please explain to the jury precisely how this happened?
Well, Hallards was expanding fast, you see, and my job was getting impossible because in a shift of 30, I had, maybe 12 in the NAAT, 9 in the FWAT, half a dozen each with a union of his own, and the rest not unionised at all. Well, how do you maintain discipline as a shift foreman, let alone do a good job as a shop steward, if you've got no consensus? We were losing production because of inter-union disputes, and collectively, you see, we had no clout in negotiations with management.
But the result of all this, Mr. Summers?
Yeah, well, I suggested to Mr. Pringle that the best answer all round was a union membership agreement.
Or, for the layman, a closed shop.
That's correct, yeah, but the layman tends to get the wrong idea, doesn't he? Anyway...
And Mr. Pringle, what was his reaction?
Oh, he was pleased. He was pleased. He asked me to handle it, in fact. We had a secret ballot and got a 90% yes vote.
Now, what was Crabtree's role in all this?
Oh, he canvassed very heavily against it.
Right. And after the ballot?
Well, then, he came begging to be let in. That's where he went wrong, you see. If he disapproved of us so much, he should have stayed out.
But didn't he have to join? Isn't that the inevitable consequence of a closed shop?
We're not monsters, you know. That's only the Tory version. Bernard had been around for a long time. He wouldn't have forced him. But once he had joined, he should have played the game.
And didn't he?
No. He did his best to make the shop unworkable.
How?
Oh, heckling at meetings, insulting union officers, that kind of thing. And then he started rumours.
What rumours?
Well, at one point he made allegations about my handling of union funds. Went straight to Central Office and demanded an investigation. When they found nothing wrong, he threatened legal proceedings.
Now, the 1981 strike.
Yeah, that was the last straw. He just walked through the picket lines ignoring us. I mean, you know, you can't run a union or a business that way. You've got to have some kind of discipline, some kind of loyalty to your mate. I mean, that's why it's called a union, isn't it? So, I started expulsion procedures against him.
And was he expelled?
Yeah.
Now, did this, to your knowledge, have anything to do with his later dismissal from Hallards?
Not that I know. He wasn't a union member anymore, you see, so I wasn't involved.
But have you reason to believe that he blamed you for the loss of his job?
Oh, yeah. He made that clear at the tribunal. And anyway, there's the letter.
Could you please hand the letter to the witness? Exhibit number 3, Your Honour. Now, Mr. Summers, do you recognise this letter?
Yeah, it's arrived through my letterbox.
When?
18th December last year.
Would you please read it to the court?
Yeah. It says, "Dear Terry, you have ruined my life, watch me ruin yours. You've all put me out of my job, watch me do the same to you. Yours ever, Bernard."
I think my learned friend is prepared to make an admission on the handwriting, Your Honour.
Yes. On behalf of the defendant, I formally admit that the letter was written by Bernard Crabtree.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Summers, did you take this letter to the police?
No, I didn't.
Well, why ever not?
Well, how could I? I mean, when you watch an old friend make such a hash of his life, you can't rub his nose in it even more.
One last question. Where were you on the evening of Sunday, the 3rd of January?
I was with the Hallard's darts team in the Cross Keys.
That is a public house, Your Honour.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Bryce.
At what time did you leave the Cross Keys?
Around 10:45. They're just call time.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary as you left the pub?
Well, Hallard's main gate is just down the road, you see. And as we came out, we saw Bernard staring in through the railings. When he saw us coming, he bolted down a side street.
Didn't you think it rather odd for him to be there at that time of night?
No, he'd been hanging around the place so much since he was sacked, I suppose we thought this was no different.
Thank you, Mr. Summers.
Now, Mr. Summers, you've told the court that as far as you were concerned, there was no connection between Crabtree's refusal to strike and his later sacking.
That's correct, yeah.
So at no point did you put pressure on Mr. Pringle to dismiss Crabtree as part of a strike settlement?
Certainly not.
You were perfectly happy, therefore, to ask your members to return to work with a black leg?
Well, if you have to put it like that.
Now,
yeah.
Mr. Baldwin, I have listened patiently and endlessly to talk about closed shops and strikes and dismissals, and I really cannot see that any of it is likely to assist the jury.
Your Honour, I can only defend as instructed. My client is most insistent that he is the victim of a conspiracy between the union and management of his former workplace, and insists that this be put to the jury.
Well, I'm sure the jury has just got the point, Mr. Baldwin. Now, look, I sympathise with your problems. I'm going to rise for half an hour so that you can have a word with Mr. Crabtree. Please, try and explain it to him.
Detective Inspector, my learned friend has suggested that the storeroom keys could somehow have remained in Crabtree's possession by accident. Could you please clarify for the court exactly how you found them?
It was immediately after the defendant had been charged, ma'am, at the station. We asked him to empty his pockets. This is normal procedure. He simply put the keys on the table together with a few personal effects.
Did he show any surprise on seeing them?
It's hard to tell. But when we asked him what they were, he said he didn't know and had no idea how they got there. It was only later we discovered that they fitted the storeroom doors.
Thank you, Detective Inspector. That's all. And in conclusion, Your Honour, may I ask Mr. Collins to read to the court a statement of the Fulchester Constabulary Forensic Department dated the 7th of January 1982.
I have been experienced for 15 years in the analysis of fingerprints. I have studied thumb and fingerprints discovered on the inner storeroom door and on machinery at Hallard's Engineering Limited on the morning of January the 4th and compared them with the prints of Bernard Crabtree, 20 Althea Street, Fulchester. I have found 15 identical ridge characteristics so as to convince me that the prints are those of Bernard Crabtree.
Right. Any questions, Mr. Baldwin?
No, nothing, Your Honour.
That is the case for the prosecution.
The case of the Queen versus Crabtree will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court.
Intention, namely that Crabtree objected to joining his union, that having done so he demanded a full-scale inquiry into the conduct of his union in his place of work, that he was expelled from his union for refusing to strike, that he appealed against that expulsion to the TUC unsuccessfully, that 5 months later he was sacked from his job and contested the justice of that sacking at an industrial tribunal, and having failed there, took his case to an employment appeal tribunal, which also found against him. Now, all this is adduced by prosecution to be evidence of Crabtree's fundamentally irresponsible and disruptive character. I hope to convince you that the same facts could equally lead to an exactly opposite assessment. The case for the defendant is that he was once the victim of an unholy alliance between the union and the management of his place of work, and is driven to entertain the possibility that a yet more sinister manifestation of that conspiracy has brought him into this dock. I call the defendant, Bernard Crabtree.
The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is authentic. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the public. Bernard Crabtree is accused of sabotaging the assembly line of Hallard's Engineering Limited.
What religion are you?
Methodist.
Take the book in your right hand, read aloud the words on the card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Is your full name Bernard Crabtree?
That's right.
And you live at 20 Althea Street, Fulchester?
That's right.
On your own?
No, with my mother.
Have you any other family?
No, just the two of us. My dad died when I was 12.
Is it true your mother's been confined to a wheelchair for some years?
Look, I know what you're getting at. Poor old Bernard, giving up all his chances in life to look after his sick mum. We just get on well together. I'm not asking for sympathy.
No one imagines you are, Mr. Crabtree, but it might be wise to accept it when it's offered.
Have you ever been convicted of any offence whatever?
No.
So you are a man of entirely good character?
I've done my best.
Now, you joined Hallard's in 1962. Did you like working there?
Yes, right from the start.
Go on, please tell the jury.
Right. Used to be a fine company before the union took over. I was proud to work there. And look at my record. I never clocked in late in 18 years. Only 5 days absence through illness and 5 compassionate leave when my mother had her stroke. That's better than Terry Summers, I can tell you. Nobody bothered to turn up once he'd taken over.
Now, Mr. Summers suggests that you felt too good for manual labour. Is that true?
You don't want to believe everything you hear. I like the work. I like the machines. They were good machines. A lot of skill and craftsmanship went into making them. Nobody appreciates that anymore.
And you were happy with conditions at Hallard's?
I had no quarrel with anybody. You couldn't find a fairer boss than Mr. Pringle. Was easy to talk to, always listened if you had a problem, and the pay was good because he paid what the company could afford and what he thought you were worth. Then the union comes along, you can't even get to talk to him.
Now, think very carefully. Mr. Summers has suggested that you held a grudge against him because of his success at Hallard's, long before the union issue arose. Is that true?
He's got it back to front. He's got a knack for that, as Terry Summers. I didn't mind his promotion. Good luck to him. I couldn't have done a foreman's job. I didn't mind his flaming football club or his darts team at the Cross Keys, as long as he didn't expect me to join in. He's only happy when he's organising people, and I didn't want to be organised. That's how it all started.
What started?
Well, he somehow gets the idea I'm messing him around. So he goes talking to people behind my back, telling them I'm odd or wrong in the head or something, just because I keep to myself. I mean, why should I join his flaming union?
Now, let me get this quite clear. Are you admitting that it was personal animosity that made you resist the union?
No, of course not. Look, I didn't like him by then, and I didn't trust him. I'd seen enough of his tricks as a foreman to know what kind of an outfit he'd be running, but I would have refused to join even without him.
Why?
Because I don't believe in trade unions. They've made a mess of this country. We were a great nation once. Now we can't even run our trains on time. What a joke, a laughing stock. We ought to invite the Japs over here. It shows how to do it. Why is it they can make a car with 7 men when we need 12? Because the other 5 are in union meetings demanding more tea breaks.
Yes, yet after all this, you still joined...
Words like duty and respect still had some meaning. People turned up for work because they knew they'd be out on their ear if they didn't. Now we've got union protection. It's stay in bed till lunchtime. Blow you, Jack. The employer's got no power, so he gets no respect.
Yes, if I can
and
just
that's for love of the job.
Moment, Mr. Crabtree.
That's gone out the window, isn't it? It's only money there is in this lot. More money for less work, and if they can't get it, it's down tools, right, lads? Everybody out on strike. Well, that's blasphemy to my way of thinking. I didn't want anything to do with it.
Listen to me, Mr. Crabtree. This is not a debating chamber. The court is not here to listen to your political philosophy.
Yeah, but you tell me.
Just answer the questions that counsel puts to you. Go on.
Now, Mr. Crabtree, why did you join the NAAT in the end?
Didn't have any flaming choice, did I? I'd have been out. That's what a close shot means.
But Mr. Pringle and Mr. Summers have both said that no undue pressure was put upon you to join the trade union.
Believe that and you believe anything. Summers kept cornering me. He tried the lot. First he made out we were still great mates. Then he said how great the union was. And then he tried threats. Life could get very unpleasant, that sort of thing. In the end he just said, I'll have you sacked.
And you believed he could?
Oh, yes. And he got what he wanted in the end. Mr. Pringle, he called me into his office and he said, you're making life very difficult for me, he said. There is no way I can protect you. You must either join the union or leave the firm.
Mr. Baldwin, None of this was put to Mr. Pringle or Mr. Summers when they gave their evidence.
No, Your Honour.
No, I mean, these are things they should have had a chance to deal with.
Yes.
Yes. Am I to take it that all this comes as news to you as well?
There is some detail here not contained in my instructions.
I see. Well, you'd better go on, hadn't you?
You can ask Pringle's secretary if you like. She was...
Mr. Crabtree. Yes.
So, what did you do next?
I went to see a solicitor. First time I've been inside a lawyer's office in my life. And he said this closed shop is perfectly legal. If they sack you for not joining, you will have no grounds for appeal, unless that is your religion forbids it. Seems like to be a Sikh or a Buddhist or something. Well, I'm a Methodist as it happens, but what was I going to say? Christ forbids me to join the NAAT. That's blasphemy. So, I joined. Well, what would you have done?
May I make it clear to the jury at this point, Your Honour, that this was in November 1979, before the 1980 Employment Act, which considerably extended the rights of the individual not to join a trade union.
Seems you've just done so, Mr. Baldwin. All right.
Having joined the NAAT, Mr. Crabtree, did you change your opinions of trade unions at all?
Did I, heck? Was worse than I'd expected, and that's saying a lot. You couldn't lift a finger without Terry Summers telling you your job. I wasn't allowed to carry things around in the storeroom anymore. That was a porter's job. So I had to spend 15 minutes explaining to somebody what I wanted when I could have got it myself in 5. And then I wasn't allowed to take things onto the machine floor. No, I was the store master, so I could only work in the storeroom. God, tell me, balmy. You couldn't blow your nose without union approval.
Now, in January last year, the NAAT called a strike at Hallard's.
You missed out the union inquiry. Summers had his hand in the till, and they hashed it up.
Yes, but you agreed you have no proof for that, and I think we decided
that you wouldn't skip over it like that. They get away with murder, these people.
Now, Crabtree, I've been extremely tolerant with you, but now I shall put my foot down.
You promised me a fair hearing.
I cannot allow you to make random accusations which have little or no bearing upon the case.
Yeah, but can't you see? He's just covering up for them. Look, I didn't want a lawyer in the first place. They're all bent.
I warn you, you're in contempt of court. Another such outburst and I shall have you taken down. All right, carry on.
Mr. Crabtree, tell the jury why you refused to obey the union strike call.
Striking is blackmail. It is morally wrong. Anyway, I couldn't afford it. I had my mother to keep. The company couldn't afford it. Everybody knew that. Business was rotten.
And did you anticipate the probable outcome of your actions?
Oh, yes. You should have seen them when I crossed the picket line. Stuff they yelled at me, I couldn't repeat it here. I knew then they'd never work with me again, but I had to go through with it. It was a question of principle.
Well, why then did they go on working with you after the strike?
Summers fixed it before I came back. He knew he couldn't have me sacked for not striking, even if he had me expelled from the union. I'll check with my lawyer about that. See, by then we had Maggie's Employment Act 1980. So he made Pringle find some other reason for chucking me out.
Are you suggesting, then, the charge of negligence was fabricated?
Exactly. Someone went in the night before, turned the place upside down. I was trying to clear it up when Pringle came in and flipped his lid at me.
You see again, Mr. Baldwin, this was not put to prosecution witnesses.
No, Your Honour.
No. Oh, well, you'd better go on.
Did you tell all this to the Industrial Tribunal?
Yeah, they didn't believe me. I shouldn't think this lot will either. I can't prove it, but I was set up. Just like I have been on this sabotage job. I don't know who did it, but it wasn't me.
And what about that letter to Summers and the threats you made in Pringle's office?
I just went mad. It was stupid. I know I shouldn't have done it, but when you've been victimised and slandered and you've seen people ruin your life and there's nothing you can do to convince anyone that you're right and they're wrong, I didn't mean to do anything. I just put the wind up the wall.
And the storeroom keys found in your pocket, how did they get there?
Oh, God knows. They must have been there all the time, I reckon. I hadn't worn that coat for ages. That's why I put them down in the register as lost. I mean, would I put that coat on to go to the police station if I'd known they were there?
Now, think back to Sunday the 3rd of January. This is the day before you were arrested. Please face the jury and tell them exactly how you spent that evening.
I'd tea with my mum about 6:30. Listened to the radio. I went for my usual walk about 10 o'clock. I walked past the factory. I've done that for years. That's when Summers and the others saw me. They were coming out the Cross Keys, drunk as usual. So I scarpered. I'm not good at fist fights.
So they threatened you?
Well, they hadn't on the picket line, so I wasn't going to hang around to find out.
Go on.
Well, I got home about 10 to 11. I put my mum to bed, brought her a cup of tea, had a bath and turned in.
And what time was that?
About 11:30. You can ask my mum if you like, she'll tell you. I was asleep by midnight, so I couldn't have done the job, you see, could I?
After the January 81 strike, Mr. Crabtree, which you refused to join, the management conceded a 12% pay rise to all staff. Presumably, you declined to accept this rise for yourself.
I can't remember.
Let me refresh your memory, then. The Hallard's accounts for 1981 show quite clearly that you did accept the same percentage rise as your colleagues.
So what?
Well, does this seem consistent to you?
I don't see why not. What are you getting at?
Would you imagine, for instance, that it was your crossing of the picket lines that won the award?
No.
It was the strike, wasn't it?
Not necessarily. Mr. Pringle would have given us the rise anyway.
You see, it might suggest to the jury, Mr. Crabtree, that you were keen enough to share the gains won by your union, however much you disapproved of its actions.
I don't see it like that.
Didn't you also claim the 2 extra days of holiday and the higher overtime rates?
I may have done.
Or wasn't this, to say the least, hypocritical?
That's just libel. I claimed nothing more than was my due.
I put it to you, Mr. Crabtree, that you had no genuine objection to your union whatsoever.
What do you mean?
I mean that you were set on pursuing your private vendetta against Terry Summers at any cost, to your colleagues and to yourself. And the union was merely a good excuse.
I told you. I didn't care about Summers.
I suggest you have hated him for a very long time.
That's a lie.
And you deliberately got yourself into trouble just so you could accuse him of causing it.
I don't have to stand here and listen to this garbage.
Oh, I'm afraid you do, Mr. Crabtree. Do you wish to answer counsel's point?
Yes, I do. You're right about one thing. I didn't care what they did to me. Somebody had to make a stand. This used to be a free country until the unions got hold of it.
And wasn't it precisely this burning conviction that you and you alone were the standard bearer of honesty and justice that led you on the night of the 3rd of January to let yourself into the factory and exact retribution?
No, I wouldn't have done that. I'm not like that.
Then why did you keep the storeroom keys after you were sacked?
I didn't keep them. I'd lost them.
Had you bothered to look for them at all?
Of course I had.
But not in your coat pocket?
I hadn't worn the coat for ages.
Not since you were sacked, the previous June?
That's right.
Then why, for the first time in 6 months, did you choose to wear it the day of your arrest?
I thought the cells might be cold. I wanted to keep warm.
Wasn't it because you'd worn that coat the night before when you entered Hallard's and the keys were still in the pocket?
Oh, look, if I'd have done the job, I'd have thrown the keys in the canal, not held on to them.
Perhaps you were so nervous you forgot.
Would I just dump them on the police table? I tell you, I've forgotten what they were until the inspector told me.
It certainly is a strange oversight. You didn't intend the keys to be found, did you?
What do you mean?
You're enjoying yourself, aren't you, Crabtree?
What now?
Yes. Another chance to air your grievances. You like being the centre of attention, don't you?
Are you suggesting I landed myself here on purpose?
Did you?
That's rubbish. They're not going to believe that. Who in his right mind wants to put himself in the dock?
Someone who has already fought his case in 3 courts and not found justice, so he thinks. Someone who believes himself to be persecuted and wants the whole world to know about it. I put it to you, Mr. Crabtree, that when you were planning the crime, you intended to sow just enough suspicion to draw attention to yourself, to put yourself in court, to splash your wrongs all across the local papers, clearly believing there would not be quite enough evidence to get you convicted.
It's a joke, isn't it? She's joking.
The only trouble is, you miscalculated.
What do you mean?
How do you account for your fingerprints at Hallard's?
I used to work there, didn't I?
6 months earlier, certainly. Had you been in the machine room since then?
I don't think so.
Yet despite the fact that the machinery had been polished from top to bottom that very weekend, the weekend of January the 2nd and 3rd, on Monday the 4th of January, your fingerprints show up like freshly minted pennies. Why?
They obviously can't have been mine then, can they?
We know they're yours. It hasn't been contested. Your counsel has accepted the evidence. Now come along, Crabtree. These evasions really won't work, you know. Well, you are keeping the court waiting.
I didn't want to tell you this. It was wrong of me, and it sounds silly. None of you believe me anyway. But this is the truth. I did keep the keys on purpose, and I did let myself in by the storeroom door Lots of times.
And you did wreck the production line.
No.
What are you trying to say, Mr. Crabtree?
I just used to walk around the place. See, that's what you don't understand. I love that factory. I spent 18 years of my life there. That storeroom was like another home to me. I didn't want to leave it. I didn't want to get myself sacked.
You wish the jury to believe that you kept those keys just so you could take the occasional evening stroll past your old factory every once in a while.
No, I kept them as a kind of a souvenir, I suppose. Then later I realised I could let myself in. The burglar alarm's right next to the storeroom door, Mr. Pringle said, so I knew I could switch it off in time.
How convenient. And once inside, you'd make yourself a cup of tea, put your feet up and read the evening paper. Do you honestly expect the jury to believe all this?
That's up to them, isn't it? You obviously don't know what it's like to get thrown out. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I don't have friends. I don't drink. Got a sign on the door once a fortnight. That's about it. I suppose it'd give me a thrill. I could say to myself, you think you still got rid of me, I'm still here.
Presumably, you also went around carefully leaving your fingerprints all over the machinery.
No.
Well, how did they get there? And, coincidentally, in all the places where the filings had been scattered.
I can't tell you.
I suggest you try.
It's a bit childish.
Go on.
Wait. See, I enjoyed working on the machines. It's like music. The way that the cogs and the wheels fit together. So when I went back there at night, I used to sit at each of the machines and pretend they were still working. Hold the levers, sort of thing. Yeah, I know it sounds silly. You can all laugh at me if you like. That's the truth, I suppose I never really grew up, really.
Yes. You wouldn't be making this up as you go along, would you?
Look, this is the truth. Do you think I'd lie in court?
First you tell us that the keys had been lost, then you admit that you kept them on purpose. First you say you merely went for an evening walk past the factory, then you admit that you let yourself in. Where do the lies end, Mr. Crabtree, and where does the truth begin?
Look.
I suggest that you have so far come nowhere near it.
I knew nobody would believe me. That's why I wanted to keep quiet.
Mr. Crabtree, you are under oath to tell not just some of the truth, but the whole truth.
What the hell is the point? The more I say, the less good it does. Should have just lied me right through all this, just like they've been doing. They call this justice. It's a farce.
Now you're in contempt of court.
Yeah, all the same. As soon as anyone starts to speak their mind, they're in contempt. Contempt of management, contempt of unions, contempt of court. What happened to free speech in this country?
You have had ample opportunity to make your views heard.
So now I can shut up and go down for 5 years. I can tell you this, it won't go quietly.
Another word from you and I'll have you taken down.
You're going to fix this one up too, haven't you? Just like the tribunals.
Take him down.
You're looking for liars. What about these two? Ask them what they were doing on January the 3rd. They're going to set me up again.
Well, Mr. Baldwin, we shall obviously have to wait until Mr. Crabtree composes himself.
Yes, Your Honour.
Yes. Is there any way in which we can usefully spend the time?
Well, this might be a convenient moment for me to mention a certain matter. Your Honour has remarked that a number of allegations concerning the witnesses, Messrs. Pringle and Summers, were made by Crabtree that had not been put to them when they gave their evidence.
Quite.
I also believe there may be fresh evidence come to the attention of those instructing me that could necessitate recalling them.
What do you say, Mrs. Bryce?
It's entirely a matter for Your Honour. I take a neutral view.
Yes, but I'll think about it overnight. Do I take it that you need time for consultation, Mr. Baldwin?
Half an hour might be useful, Your Honour.
Half an hour? Yes, well, I think I shall rise early today. Do try and get yourself sorted out.
All stand.
The case of the Queen versus Crabtree will be concluded tomorrow when the jury return their verdict in the Crown Court.
I will not have my court treated like a strike committee. We are not here to discuss the finer details of industrial relations, merely to discover whether a man is guilty of the criminal damage of which he stands accused. And I will not have Crabtree using the dock as though it were a soapbox at Speaker's Corner.
Your Honour, I managed to speak at some length with Mr. Crabtree last night, and he has finally provided me with full instructions.
Ah, a little late in the day.
Considering his extreme reluctance to accept counsel at all,
Yes,
I think it's...
all right. I appreciate your problems. But I warn you that I will not tolerate any further disruptions.
He has quietened down considerably overnight.
And there's also this matter outstanding of your application to recall the witnesses Pringle and Summers. Well, in view of the developments yesterday, I think it is only proper that they should have an opportunity to deal with matters raised by the defendant in evidence.
The defence is much obliged, Your Honour.
Mm-hmm. Right, you can bring in the jury, Mr. Jones.
The case you're about to see is fictional, but the procedure is authentic. The characters are played by actors, but the jury is selected from members of the public.
Mrs. Crabtree, can you remember what you and your son were doing on the evening of Sunday, January the 3rd?
I think so.
Would you please tell the jury everything you can recall?
Bernard wheeled me through the park in the afternoon. We were back by 5 and he cooked me my tea. And then we listened to my 100 best tunes on the radio. Bernard doesn't hold with TV. And then he went out for his walk.
Now, what time was that?
10 o'clock. He always has a walk at 10 o'clock.
Go on.
Well, he got back around 11, a little sooner, I think, and he helped me into bed. I need help, you see. I can't manage on my own. Bernard's a good son. He's looked after me so well since my Arthur died, and I'm not always easy to live with.
No, we understand, Mrs. Crabtree. Please, go on.
Well, he helps me into bed, and then I hear him go into the bathroom, and then he comes in his dressing gown, and he brings me a cup of tea. I always have a cup of tea in bed, and then I read a bit and try to sleep. But I'm not a good sleeper, and I didn't drop off till 3 o'clock. I was so worried about Bernard, you see.
Why were you worried?
Well, he was so depressed about losing his job. I sometimes heard him talking to himself in his bedroom. I always knew what he was thinking. It was Hallards all the time. Well, I was afraid he might try and hurt himself or do something silly.
I see. And did you see him again that night?
Well, I didn't see him again, no. But I could hear him tossing and turning all night long. He doesn't sleep well either, you see, and our walls are very thin. But I definitely heard him get up and go into the bathroom again around 12:30.
Did you hear him go downstairs at all?
Oh, no, he didn't go downstairs again. Our stairs are so creaky, he never goes down without waking me. I'm such a light sleeper.
Thank you, Mrs. Crabtree. My friend may have some questions for you, too.
Am I right in thinking... Sorry. Am I right in thinking, Mrs. Crabtree, that you wear a hearing aid?
Well, yes, I do. But I'm not deaf, you know.
Do you normally sleep with your hearing aid in?
Well, sometimes I do. Sometimes I forget to take it out.
But if you're a poor sleeper and Bernard keeps you awake, presumably it does help to take it out.
Yes, well, it does really. But I kept it in that night.
Even though you were trying to sleep? Why?
Because I wanted to hear what Bernard was up to.
Oh, you mean so you could hear when he got back? Because you knew he had gone out again as soon as he'd brought you your tea?
No. Oh, I think I'm wrong. I did take it out after all, I remember now.
At what time?
Around midnight when I was trying to get to sleep.
So, of course, you can't be sure that he didn't go out again after that.
Well, I'm sure I would have heard him on the stairs.
Thank you, Mrs. Crabtree. That's all.
Do you recognize the two notebooks, Mrs. Culshaw?
Yes, they're mine.
And what do they contain?
Shorthand notes.
Made by you?
Yes, and they both contain records of union management meetings between Mr. Pringle and Mr. Summers. I was present on both occasions as Mr. Pringle's secretary to take the minutes.
And when did the meetings take place?
The first was on the 20th of January 1981.
That was during the NAAT strike at Hallard's, was it not?
Yes, it was one of several settlement negotiations. The men returned to work the following week.
And the second meeting?
Well, that was later, the 22nd of December 1981.
Mrs. Culshaw, do you usually keep your shorthand notes so long?
A good secretary throws nothing away. Besides, not all the conversation was recorded in the official minutes, so it was very important to keep the original records.
I see. Thank you. Yes.
Could you now please look at the typewritten pages? Do you recognize them?
Yes, they're transcripts of the two meetings.
Accurate transcripts?
Absolutely.
May the witness refer to the transcripts while giving evidence, Your Honour?
Yeah, Mrs. Bryce?
We've had them checked, Your Honour. I've no objection.
Please turn to page 5 of the transcripts of the first meeting, Mrs. Culshaw. And could you please read from the second paragraph?
Mr. Summers inquired Mr. Pringle's intentions as regards Mr. Crabtree, as return from strike impossible if Crabtree is still on staff. Pringle unwilling and unable to sack Crabtree for refusal to strike. Summers unwilling and unable to recommend members to resume work with Blackleg. Difference noted. Decision deferred till next meeting.
Was this passage included in any of the official minutes of the settlement?
No, I don't think so.
Well, why not?
Mr. Pringle must have asked me to leave it out.
Was Crabtree's future discussed at any other meetings?
Not in my presence.
I see. Could you now take the second transcript and turn to page 10? That's the second meeting on December the 22nd, Your Honour. From the fourth paragraph down.
Pringle explained extent of financial problem and contracting markets. Necessity of 50% redundancies to avoid closure. Summers asked for breathing space and would offer alternative suggestions. The notes end there.
Was that the end of the meeting?
No. Mr. Pringle sent me out to make some telephone calls at that point.
And how much longer were Mr. Pringle and Mr. Summers together?
About half an hour.
You don't know if Mr. Summers ever did come up with alternative suggestions?
No, I don't, but I think it's most unlikely. Mr. Pringle went abroad the following day and didn't return till after the event.
Ah, yes, of course, his Middle East trip. Was he in touch at all while he was away?
Yes, once. He telephoned from Dubai on December the 31st to say when he'd be back.
You don't know by any chance if he spoke to Summers, do you?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, he asked me to transfer his call to Mr. Summers' office.
Thank you. What were you so anxious to discuss with Summers, Mr. Pringle?
I wasn't anxious to discuss anything. I merely wanted to discover if the official union attitude on redundancies had changed. We were, as you seem to realise, undergoing temporary difficulties at Hallard's.
Temporary, Mr. Pringle? You were threatening closure.
Oh, threatening, exactly. You have to allow for bluff in union management talks.
Mr. Pringle, the day before yesterday, you told us, and I quote you, the long-term future looked quite bright.
Well, it certainly did. Only the short term was a bit worrying. Well, as I was about to tell you, my Middle East trip was designed to find new markets. These, unfortunately, had proved difficult, and I wanted to break the news to Summers before my return. He didn't take it very well. Understandably, I suppose. Redundancies are never pleasant.
And did he come up with other ideas as he'd promised?
No, he was singularly unhelpful. Confined his comments to routine union bluster about strikes.
But I thought you and he enjoyed a cordial relationship.
Not as cordial as I thought, as it turned out.
Well, he was a frequent visitor at your house. He and his wife used to come round for dinner.
Yes, well, any informal contact can be helpful in labour relations.
Is it right that you signed a Hallard's cheque for £300 made out to Summers on December the 22nd?
Yes, that was my contribution to the Christmas party, which he always organised.
It wasn't by any chance an inducement to sabotage while you were away, was it?
Your Honour, if this is really to be my learned friend's case, can he make it absolutely plain?
Yes. Mr. Baldwin.
Let me spell it out for you, Mr. Pringle. You told us before that you put no pressure on Mr. Crabtree to join the union. Mary Culshaw supports his claim that you threatened him with dismissal. You told us before that Crabtree's sacking was completely unrelated to the strike. The transcripts show that his future was an issue in settlement negotiations. You suggest to us that Hallard's was flourishing. The transcripts show you talking to Summers of closure.
But that was merely tactical bluff, as I've already explained.
On one and the same day, December the 22nd, 1, Crabtree burst into your office, setting himself up as a perfect scapegoat. 2, you threaten Summers with closure unless he finds his own solution. 3, you make out a substantial cheque to him. And 4, the following day you disappear abroad, only to reappear when you can claim your insurance returns and lay off the whole workforce.
I can only assure the jury that what you are suggesting is completely untrue. That factory was my life's work, and I could never, under any circumstances, have damaged it in any way. If you examine my insurance files, as you're perfectly free to do, you'll see quite clearly that I was underinsured to an almost reckless degree and that I've suffered terrible losses as a result of this act of vandalism. I'm on the verge of bankruptcy. As it is, all this extra publicity will probably push me over the edge. The honest truth is that I had forgotten about that meeting with Crabtree. Mary has a better memory than I have, and if she agrees that I threatened to sack him, then I'm sure I did. In fact, the last government's legislation on the closed shop would have obliged me to. And the present government, of course, would take me to court for it, and who knows what the next lot will inflict on us.
Mr. Pringle.
As for my discussions with Summers about Crabtree's future after the 1981 strike, the very fact that Crabtree remained on the payroll for a further 5 months should reassure the jury of my good faith. I was simply attempting to do justice to all parties under very difficult circumstances. Providing employment in this country can be a thankless task.
For 300 quid, you must be joking. That money was spent on the Christmas party, and a lot more came out of my own pocket. Ask any of the lads, they'll tell you.
And Mr. Pringle wasn't in the habit of giving you little presents every once in a while?
What do you mean?
Like a video cassette recorder the Christmas before last?
Sure, yeah. That was a personal gift. We were on very good terms. No, you can't call that a bribe. I took the lads out on strike less than a month later.
Am I right in thinking, Mr. Summers, that you had a company car for use on union business?
Yeah?
But presumably that has been returned since the factory closure?
No, I still use it occasionally.
Occasionally, Mr. Summers? You've been driving to the court in it every morning, haven't you?
Yes.
And it stays in your garage at night, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Have you registered unemployed since the layoffs?
No, not yet.
Well, what have you been living on?
Savings.
Pringle wouldn't be paying you a retainer, would he?
No. No way. Check with my bank. Go through my accounts if you like. All right, so maybe I didn't return the car, but Mr. Pringle didn't ask for it back, did he? We've all tried to save something from the wreckage he's left.
Don't you point your finger at me, you
Silence in court.
Now, I shan't warn you again, Crabtree. Mr. Summers, you're here to answer questions, not to prosecute.
I do apologise, Your Honour. I got carried away. I only wanted to say that, well, maybe I did accept a few perks from Mr. Pringle. We were quite friendly while things were going well. Played golf together. I was useful to him. It ensured that the business ticked over smoothly. And why shouldn't they have its rewards? Unions are equal partners in our industry, not charitable institutions. But he's suggesting that for the sake of a video machine and a company car, I'd scab for Pringle and sell out my members. I've been a Labour man for 20 years and I resent that.
In your favour, Mr. Summers, it must be said that the factory was closing anyway.
It wouldn't have closed. We'd have taken it over. Given half a chance, I'd have made a cooperative of that business. And do you know why I'd have made it work? Because the lads trust me. Do you think they'd have voted me in time after time if I'd been bent like he makes out?
You said the day before yesterday that you never demanded Crabtree's sacking. The transcripts show that you did.
Oh, well, I'd forgotten that meeting completely. That was the only time he was mentioned. Pringle refused, so I dropped the matter. Oh, listen. I could have had him out if I wanted. I could have made his life hell. But I didn't. He was a friend of mine. I did what I could to protect him. You know, he had a lot to offer once. He could have made a real contribution instead of wrecking everything.
Could you tell the court what you did after 10:45 on the evening of January the 3rd? After you'd left the Cross Keys and seen Crabtree loitering at the Hallard main gate?
Yeah. I knew you'd ask that. No, I haven't an alibi. Unlike someone here who was careful enough to provide
Now,
one.
Mr. Summers, just answer the question.
Well, I was a bit tight, you see, like Bernard said, and I don't like driving that way, so I sat in the back of that company car you say I shouldn't have had and fell asleep. I woke up at 4 and drove home. I was approximately 100 yards from Hallard's the whole time. Whoever did the job could well have seen me there.
That's all I ask, Your Honour.
Right. Mrs. Bright?
No, thank you, Your Honour.
Thank you, Mr. Summers. You may stand down. Now, Mr. Baldwin, you're absolutely sure you don't want to recall anyone else?
Absolutely, Your Honour.
Mrs. Bright?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have we not just witnessed a desperate last-ditch manoeuvre? Faced with perfectly clear and simple evidence, has not the defence consistently refused to face up to the main charge, that of criminal damage? Instead, as a smokescreen, he has chosen to wage an indiscriminate smear campaign against the very victims of this senseless crime, adding insult to the injury they have already suffered. And let none of you underestimate that injury. Was this not a savage, heartless act of revenge, deliberately conceived to inflict hardship upon others? Not only the witnesses you see in this court, but also many other unfortunate men and women rendered unemployed by Crabtree's actions. Now, the defence is asking you to believe that Crabtree is somehow a man to be pitied, a victim of some conspiracy between his employer and his shop steward to deprive him of his rights and his job. He has been held up for you to admire as some kind of martyr to the cause of civil liberty. Well, you've seen his behaviour in court. What do you think? You've heard him portrayed as a champion of justice, a seeker after truth. Do you honestly think that this is the case? Or is he not quite plainly an inveterate troublemaker, a compulsive antisocial who has brought his problems upon himself, who indeed appears to enjoy them and the publicity that they've attracted? Now, could this not be the key to the whole matter? Could it be that Crabtree deliberately put himself in this position to have one last chance to air his wrongs to the world? Now, you may well be inclined to sympathise with him, and why not? Perhaps he was hard done by. But I must emphasise to you that you are not here today to determine one way or another on the rights and wrongs of his history at Hallard's. For whatever the provocation, no man has the right to take the law into his own hands and exact retribution. Now, the prosecution case is that this is precisely what Crabtree did. And I put it to you that the evidence is clear. His threats of retaliation made verbally to Mr. Pringle and in writing to Mr. Summers have not been contested. Neither has the fact that his fingerprints were found all over the machinery. Did he then keep the storeroom keys by accident? Or was it the first stage in his sabotage plan? Did he really let himself into the factory at night merely for old time's sake, as he would have you believe? Or was it, in fact, to commit the crime of which he stands accused? Did he really go straight to bed, having brought his mother her cup of tea? Or did he not? put his clothes back on, quietly descend the stairs, knowing full well his mother could not hear him, and go back to Hallard's. You must decide. I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen. The answer is very simple.
Thank you, Mrs. Bryce. Mr. Baldwin?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my learned friend appears to have invited some very harsh opinion of my client's character and his conduct in this court. But suppose what Crabtree has been telling you is the truth. In the pursuit of an occupation he has carried out faithfully for 15 years, he suddenly finds himself subject to a new authority, namely a trades union, to which he has no inclination and no legal obligation to submit. In the course of his perfectly justified refusal to accept association, he finds himself victimized and harassed and finally deprived of his livelihood on grounds he believed to be false. Seeking redress, he applies to not one, but 2 industrial courts, both of which find against him, and choose to believe instead what he believed to be the deception of his employer. Finally, he finds himself arrested for a crime he did not commit, strongly suspecting himself to be a scapegoat for precisely the same conspiracy which has persecuted him in the first place. Now I ask you honestly to consider what your condition would be at the end of such an ordeal. And you might think it a miracle that Crabtree has retained his sanity. Now, the prosecution have referred to the evidence. There is, in my submission, very little, and all of it circumstantial. Crabtree has explained in his own words how his fingerprints came to be on the machinery at Hallard's. He's a lonely man, ladies and gentlemen, and you might well choose to believe that the chance of a quiet visit to his former place of work, where he was once happy, was an irresistible temptation to a man with no friends, no job, and nothing else to do. And finally, if you are tempted to conclude that Crabtree must have done it because nobody else could have done it, then consider this alternative version of events. Pringle is faced with a struggling business and probable closure. Summers with the humiliating dismissal of his entire membership. Both wish to avoid a pointless struggle, and both have reason to dislike him. Pringle goes abroad, leaving Summers with a substantial cheque as a sign of future support, but he has nothing for 2 weeks. Worried, he phones Summers and warns him to act fast. 3 days later, possibly still undecided, Summers, in the company of others, sees Crabtree loitering outside Hallard's main gate and decided his moment has arrived. Now, I am not asking you to accept that this is exactly what happened, or that it happened at all. But if there is the slightest doubt in your mind that it might have happened, then it is your duty to acquit.
The defendant is charged with criminal damage, and I've explained to you what that means. Now, it is not disputed that someone committed the crime. It was not an accident. The question you must decide is whether you are satisfied so that you are sure that it was Crabtree who threw the debris into the machines. Or could it have been some other person? The prosecution case is that it was Crabtree, and this they must prove so that you are sure that it was he. Now, I would ask you to retire, elect a foreman, and consider your verdict.
All stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Please answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict on which you're all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the defendant, Bernard Crabtree, guilty or not guilty of causing criminal damage?
Not guilty.
Mr. Crabtree, you may be discharged.
All stand.